I'm very excited to be trying out for Amazon Prime's Lord of the Rings series. I'm a huge fan of the Peter Jackson franchise. I'm a huge fan of the world. I'm Adam Olinger, of course, from the hit channel Adam Does Movies. You've heard of it. No, a lot of people shaking their heads no. I'm just going to be spitballing lines from the Fellowship of the Ring to start with. Maybe I'll come back and do the Two Towers and potentially the Return of the King. The Return of the Atom, as I like to call this audition. Here we go. You cannot pass! I am the servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of Anor! The dark fire will not avail you, flame of Odun! Is that right? I'm just gonna keep going. Go back to the shadow! You shall not pass! Right? Put a beard on me, age me a little bit, I'm Gandalf the Grey. I'm Gandalf the Wise. I'm Gandalf the stunningly attractive. I see an intern girl over there shaking her head no. Gentlemen, we do not stop till nightfall. But what about breakfast? You've already had it, stupid piece of shit. We've had one, yes, but what about second breakfast? I don't think he knows about second breakfast, Pip. It's a pity Bilbo didn't kill him when he had the chance, Gandalf. Pity? It was pity that stayed Bilbo's hand. You're late. A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins, nor is he ever early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Well, it's not the fucking time we agreed to, Gandalf. I made a promise, Mr. Frodo. A promise. Don't you leave him, Samwise Gamgee. And I don't mean to. I don't mean to. One does not simply walk into Mordor. She's always crying, so. Do you remember when we first met? Thought I had wandered into a dream. Or an Aerosmith music video. Go back, Sam. I'm going to Mordor alone. Of course you are. And I'm coming with you. Fly, you fools. You have my sword, and you have my bow. I'm awesome. And my axe! Don't suppose we'll ever see them again, Sam. We may yet, Mr. Frodo. We may. I like to repeat things that I say often. Sam, I'm glad you're with me. Are you frightened? Yes. Not nearly frightened enough. I know what hunts you. Wow, thanks, Dick. They have a cave troll. I'm just going to be fighting the troll as different characters of the party. Take from what you will. Legolas time, bitches. like around the head shot. What is this new devilry? A Balrog, a demon from the ancient world. This foe is beyond any of you. Run! No!
It came to me, my own, my love, my precious.
Something draws near. I can feel it. Calling in the air tonight. Hold on. Hold on. I can feel it calling in the air tonight. Oh, hold on. I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Hold on. Sorry, I love Phil Collins. It reminded me. I'll keep going. I'll continue. Fool of a took. I don't know what the fuck that means. Fool of a took? Fool of a took?
Shire Baggins.
Getting stabbed by the cave's troll through the mithril armor. God! Ouch! Oh! Frodo! 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 That was a lot of work. I think everybody's pretty impressed with what I brought to the table today, right? You know how to find me. I'm a pretty big show, a pretty big deal on YouTube. So Adam Olinger, you know. Intern's still shaking her head no. Like we're not having a connection here. Okay, thanks for your time. All right, let's get going. We're live. It's Adam Does Movies. It's a Tuesday night. We're feeling frisky. I, of course, have my Coca-Cola on the rocks. Not even looking for the pour, but I'm going to look in a second because I can feel it's getting close to the top. That's entertainment. I think I got some of the kinks worked out. So probably not, but I think I did. I was able to figure out how to do something a 11-year-old child can do on the internet, which is preview the stream before pushing it out live. If you've been joining me on this misadventure, which is live streams on Tuesdays and Friday nights at 10:30 p.m., you will have noticed there's been a myriad of issues that have come up, from camera failures to audios not being in sync. It's a complete shit show, and we're here for it. I don't think there's really anything else exciting that took place today, so let's talk movies. And let me start by giving you a breakdown of what's to come. Today on the show, we are going to be addressing some movie news that has surfaced, that's percolating. We are going to cover what I think is going to be a fun little segment where I go through movie franchises that have disappointed me. Spoiler, there's a lot of them. Films that started out great, but somewhere along the way, due to studio interference, poor writing, or just a amalgamation of different things, the movies have gone bad. They've gone stale, they've gone rotten. Putting that extra T, rotten. I can't say my T's well. It's been a problem for a long time. As always, super chats are why we do this, really. Obviously, I'm here to entertain, to talk movies, to have fun, have some camaraderie. But at the end of the day, super chats are very much appreciated, whether it's $1.99 or $20. Like I already got right out of the gates, shot out of a cannon, Hack the Movies with a powerful $20 super chat. I like to save these to the end. And, you're giving me a couple bucks to dance like an idiot. Let's see what Tony from Hack the Movies has to say. He was recently just at Universal Studios. I was jealous because I love Universal Studios. My family went last year. Had a great time. We want to go back. He was a little saucy with his photos, though. I don't appreciate how he was kind of like, this is lame. This sucks. I genuinely hope you had a good time, Tony. Anyway, his super chat is as follows. Howling 3 really helped reinvent the Howling franchise. Part 4 being a remake of 1 kind of messed it up. 5 and 6 were okay as self-contained stories. Then they ruined it in Part 7 by trying to connect with them. I'm sure you agree. The Howling franchise, I believe, started in 1977. There's 8 films based off 3 graphic novels. Yeah, so I know a little bit about the werewolf franchise, The Howling, Tony. I know you thought you were pretty clever and play. No, honestly, I saw your super chat right before I went live, so I Googled what the fuck The Howling was, because I had no idea. Yeah, no idea. Thanks for that cut, though, and thanks for the $20. That's really the only part I care about. Let's get into the news. Oh, okay, Harry Potter Land was great, says Tony. Good. I don't think it's called Harry Potter Land, but that's fine. I'm glad you liked it. Let's start with the news, the movie news. Boom. According to Discover, this giant Discovery card banner ad, according to Screen Rant, this is what they're reporting from someone on Twitter, probably. The Avatar sequel delays into 2030s. Has everyone already feeling old? I felt old before the Avatar news. It's with a heavy heart that I tell you that the 3 upcoming Avatar sequels have been delayed, prompting an outpouring on Twitter about just how old everyone will be by the time the franchise concludes. Okay, let's see when these come out now, because they're going to be delayed again and then again and again. Avatar 3 is coming out December 19, 2025. Avatar 4, 2029, and Avatar 5, 2031. I mean, if I liked the Avatar movies, I would care. But Avatar 2 blew ass, and I don't want to hear anything else about it. You can like the pretty Smurfs in space jumping around for 3 hours, circle jerking. I hated that film. And I liked the first one, but I'm not going to lie to you. The 3D and the visual extravaganza when that first movie came out was unlike anything else in theaters. It was a magical experience. I own it on Blu-ray, and I have a hard time getting through that film. I have a hard time watching it again at home because I don't have the surround sound 3D glasses on a jumbo screen, so it loses a lot of that luster, a lot of that sheen. Avatar 2, I just don't like. But if you're a big fan of the Avatar sequel, Way of Water, Dark of the Moon, Transformers style title, then, you have 2025, which I'm guessing is going to be delayed longer. I predict Avatar 3 doesn't come out till 2027. That's how I feel about the James Cameron saga. It's always rife with issues. Let's move on to the next piece of news. This is even more lame than the last. According to Screen Rant, these are all from Screen Rant. I Googled movie news and Screen Rant came up, so that's where we're at with things. James Gunn confirms the first DC Universe movie character. Wait, isn't it going to be Superman? No, you idiot! Sorry, not you. Gunn's Superman Legacy will be the first DC Universe movie, but Superman isn't the first DCU character. Wipe out. How exciting. Question, are we getting an Avatar video game? Yeah, there's an Avatar video game coming out. Usually the questions I answer are super chats, but I'll say, yeah, there's an Avatar game coming out. Following uncertainty about whether or not Blue Beetle will be connected to the DC universe, James Gunn sets the record straight about the young hero's future. Okay, let's skip all the bullshit in the preamble. Okay, it appears the mystery has finally been solved as Gunn recently chatted about his future with DC Studios on Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. That sounds oddly sexual inside of you. Maybe it's supposed to. During his guest spot on the popular podcast, popular? Guess he hasn't heard of Adam Does Movies podcast. He hasn't, legitimately. The DC Studios boss confirmed that while his Superman Legacy movie will be the first proper DC Studios film, the Blue Beetle character will officially be the first DC Universe character. I don't like that they said character twice in the span of 4 words. I don't like that. I guess it's more like 7 words, but still, there's other words you can use. It's such a pet peeve of mine. It's one thing to be talking off the cuff, but you're writing a damn article. Have some respect. Unbelievable. Okay, so while it was always known that Blue Beetle wouldn't be tied to the DCEU, it was still uncertain whether or not it would be a DC Universe property or exist as an Elseworlds story. Barf. Barf with the Elseworlds stuff. This is so dumb. Alright, Blue Beetle looks like shit. That doesn't mean it will be, but that trailer was terrible. So what does that even mean? The movie isn't necessarily part of the DC universe with James Gunn's Superman Legacy, but the character is? So is he going to pop in through the multiverse and be like, hi, I was in a crappy movie, but I was cool, so here I am. That's how he talks. It's like Urkel. Did I do that? People know who Urkel is, right? All right. I just really don't care about any of this. I am excited for Superman Legacy because James Gunn has made nothing but good movies for me. And I know my taste. And I like Superman as a character. A lot of people don't like Superman. They think he's OP and just lame all around. That's fine. You do you, boo. I'm excited to see what he has in store for this character. Up next, Blue Beetle I don't care about, but maybe it'll surprise me. It would have to, because again, that preview was awful. Marvel delays. It's with a heavy heart again. Marvel delays 6 MCU movies. Avengers 5 and 6. Fantastic Four and more release date changes. Avengers 5 and 6? Jesus, really? There was Avengers, there was Age of Ultron, there was Infinity War and Endgame, and yeah, I guess, okay, 5 and 6. Okay. Is he even going to be in them? Wasn't he arrested or he did some wrongdoings? Can any of these superheroes actually be semi-decent people in the real world? I guess to be fair, he is a villain in these movies, so maybe that's just par for the course. Marvel Studios' multiverse saga is going to run a bit longer than planned as several Marvel Cinematic Universe movies in Phase 5 and 6 have gotten new dates. Phase 5 finally kicked off this year as the MCU is getting deeper. Okay, I don't care about the preamble again. Let's just look at what we have. All right, so Deadpool 3 is now slated for November 8th, 2024. Oh, no, that's what it was. Now it's May. November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So it was pushed back 6 months. I did the math in real time for you. Captain America, Brave New World. I assume that's with Anthony Mackie, who's honestly kind of lame. Was supposed to come out May, now July. May, June, July. So that was pushed back 2 months. 2 whole months you're going to have to wait for that movie. Is that a movie or a show? I don't know. I don't know anymore. Thunderbolts. July 26th to now December. July, August, September, October, November, December. So that's 5 months. These are all getting pushed back less than a year, it seems. Fantastic Four. February to May. February, March, April. 3 months. Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. The Kang Dynasty. May 2nd to May 1st. That actually traveled forward in time one day. Oh no, oh my god, it's 2026! It's been pushed back a full fucking year. Full year for the Kang Dynasty, and then Secret Wars is 2027, which is going to piggyback nicely with Avatar 3, The Way of Waves, or whatever that one's going to be called. Blue Balls of Tomorrow. I wonder how that works with the show. So these are all movies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 movies. And then we have all the TV shows. I assume Loki, season 2. Does WandaVision get in something else? Is that still cooking somewhere? What other shows do they have? Moon Knight? Miss Marvel 2? She-Hulk 2? She-Hulkier? Well, there you go. Oh, MCU scheduling changes aren't a bad thing. So now here's Screen Rant just shilling for Disney. Yeah, it's all great. Everything's great. They have a plan, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. That's the takeaway for all of this. And now we're back to me. Now we have a full figured Adam. Kind of got a tan. If you didn't notice the tan that's rocking, it's because I took surf lessons last week, Monday through Friday. It went pretty horribly the first few days. Believe it or not, a guy from Minnesota who's not really touched an ocean until he was 40 isn't the best on a board. The way of water was not the way for me. Oh, I noticed a glitch. Great. We're going to do the glitching thing again with the camera. That's fun. I will say this, though. After 2 days of some heavy waves slapping me around, throwing me, bodying me into the ocean floor. Oh, God. What is happening with that? Why is it doing that? I was able to get up on the board on day 3. And by day 4, I was doing the swimming. I was doing the stroking. And I was doing the boarding on my own. Even timing the wave and getting up on it. And listen, I'm a tall drink of water. I'm 6'3.5", 6'4" on a good day. That's a lot of weight to put up on a board. My kids were a lot better on it than I was. But we're a surfer family now. We are a surfer family. And I'm excited about it. That's been the highlight of my life so far. The marriage and the kids, second place. Dear God, these glitches are freaking me out. Is anybody seeing those? The glitch has been there. Why does it do it? The glitch wasn't doing it unacceptable. Yeah, maybe it's better when I'm in smaller frame. It's just not as aggressive. And we are going to get back into smaller frame because we have a list prepared now on Letterboxd. You can find me there on Adam Does Movies. Maybe if I don't move as much, it doesn't freak out. So I'm just going to be like still the whole time. Maybe it's a movement. It is a movement thing. I think it has something to do with the autofocus on this dumbass camera. I don't know. Folks, I don't know. Okay, I'm doing my best. We are going to jump into the Letterboxd list that I've put together. I do have a couple caveats. I have a couple things now. This list was prepared very quickly. It's not final. I have a lot to add to it. This is maybe an ongoing project that we're going to work on. If you want to add something to the list, put a super chat out there and I'll see it. If you just comment a movie you want to put on there, you know what? I'll look, but I might not tell. I'll look, but I might not tell. I might look and I might take the comment and use it and pretend like it was my own. That's where we're at. That's how pathetic we are right now with the super chats. Let's begin the list by quickly bringing up one of the worst offenders as of late. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're looking at right now is a sad state of affairs. This is Snore or Whore, Love and Dunder, or Bore, Dumb and Dumber, or Whore. I don't know anymore. That's fine. We got enough of them. I gave it 2 stars. That is being generous because there's some entertainment to be had in this sloppy shit show of a film. Thor Love and Thunder was worse upon a second viewing. I watched it once in theaters, was very disappointed like a father is with a kid that just doesn't do well in sports. Like, that's not my son out there. Hey, which boy's yours? The black kid who's making all the 3-pointers, that's my kid. Oh, I thought yours was the sluggish one that's in the back of the court tripping over himself. No, I don't know that guy. I don't know that kid. Connor? No, I don't know him. I don't remember saying his name was Connor. Okay. Let's move on. So Thor, Love and Thunder, it's a bad movie. It really is. It's an SNL skit that never ends. Most SNL skits start out as good ideas, but then by the 4-minute mark, they never seem to know how to end. That's how Thor, Love and Thunder was after 5 minutes. Christian Bale's trying to act. He reminded me of like Tommy Lee Jones from Batman and Robin as Two-Face. Is that the one he was in? Really hamming it up. He is serious, but also kind of just schlocky about it. And then everyone else is in a comedy. It's so bad. Green screened up the ass, and not in a tricky way like Mad Max Fury Road, but just terrible green screen. Like Adam Does Movies preset green screen from a couple years back. That's where it was at. And I should also point out, the movies on this list are movies that killed any momentum I had for the franchise. This list does not contain movies that destroyed a franchise. Movies continued to come out in some of these film franchises after that said movie. It's just, it ruined it for me. It might have had a good start, but it botched it by the second film or third film or wherever it's at. Let's go to the full list. Up next is another MCU movie, and it's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I genuinely don't know how anyone likes this film either. Thor: Love and Thunder, I can see the appeal. It's got some funny moments. It's colorful, blah, 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 blah. Ant-Man and the Wasp is an ugly film full of bad acting, especially from the daughter. I don't know how anyone can defend... What's her name even? Catherine Newton is the actress. Who's she playing? Hope or some shit? Hope is bad haircut. Evangeline Lilly. It doesn't matter. It's set in the quantum verse or wherever, quantum realm. So we have a multiverse, then we have a quantum realm. We have a new villain who's very kind of laissez-faire. It's the bad guy from Creed 3, Jonathan Majors. And it's a Majors disappointment. It's another one of those movies that undercuts any drama for laughs. It doesn't have any stakes at all. They beat the villain by herding together ants around him. Nothing screams big bad villain for Phase 6 like a guy who gets taken down by some ants. And then in the final moment, when I finally think they have the cojones to do something of substance by sending Ant-Man's daughter back with his family, and he's left behind, trapped in the quantum realm. I'm like, oh man, are they getting rid of him? Did he just sacrifice himself? And nope, just kidding. And they pulled him in too. What a terrible film. I just can't with this. It's made for kids, but kids that haven't seen a lot of movies, kids that like Space Jam 2, A New Legacy. Those are the kids that will like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I won't knock them for it. My nephew likes Space Jam 2. We watched it at the house when it came out on HBO Max, when it was called HBO Max. My kids fucking hated that movie, and they're like, and I could see in my little nephew's eyes the joy, the wonder of seeing LeBron James playing with Bugs Bunny, doing a bunch of garbage, and I wasn't going to take that from him. I might be an asshole on camera, but I'm certainly respectful to people's thoughts and opinions, even if they're terrible. And so I was like, what'd you think of the movie? And he said it was great. I was like, yeah, cool beans. And then as soon as he left, I was like, what an idiot. You can't hang out with him anymore. Joking. But yeah, this movie's terrible. Jurassic World Fallen franchise. By the time Jurassic World Dominion came out, I had already lost all favor with this film franchise. And I'm separating World from the Jurassic Park trilogy. Jurassic Park trilogy is garbage too. You have Jurassic Park 1, which is my favorite movie like of all time, full stop, for a bunch of reasons I've already gone into. Jurassic Park Lost World, some people really like it. They like the darker vibes. I guess they like the gymnast kicking a raptor out the window. Bullshit. I didn't care for a lot of it, but it's still a watchable, serviceable movie. Jurassic Park 3 is completely stupid, schlocky, It's got a raptor that says Alan. A lot of bad in that film. I actually prefer Jurassic Park 3 over Lost World. I get crap for it, but it's a half hour shorter, and that's where I'm at with the franchise. I only watch because I like dinosaurs. That's an easy sell for me. Jan Rose, in the mix, love when she gives a super chat, $5, says, I hate Thor Love and Thunder. I can never say this guy's name. Taika Waititi has taken Thor too far. And overall, having too much comedy, it's just a joke of itself. You are absolutely correct. Ragnarok, and I really hated this. I hated this so much on the internet. Those damn internet kids saying, you all asked for this when you liked Thor Ragnarok, when you championed Thor Ragnarok. We absolutely did not. Jojo Rabbit, which I would come to have watched not too long back, thanks to a suggestion from my buddy Matt, was fantastic. And I honestly could not believe that was the same dude that was responsible for Thor Love and Thunder. Or even Thor Ragnarok, because these movies are witty, they're clever, they have style, substance, they have good framing, they have good visuals, they have good energy. Thor Love and Thunder felt like they shot it in 3 days during a COVID thing or something. It felt so cheap and so it lacked chemistry, it lacked passion, it lacked energy, it lacked all the good stuff from those other films. It's remarkable how bad it is. And it's truly remarkable how bad Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is. Jurassic World, it was in that same place as Star Wars The Force Awakens, right? You reset everything to square one. Meaning you completely duplicate the previous movie's success and repackage it. So Jurassic World is basically Jurassic Park again, a dumb man's version of Jurassic Park. You have lamer new characters. You have lamer CG, even though it's vastly improved. It somehow looks worse than the original Jurassic Park because they're not mixing in animatronics enough. They're not using good shadows and lighting. So it's just overall a glossy, shiny, pretty looking film that's pretty soulless inside. And ironically, it straight up says it is. At one point, one of the characters is like, hey, remember the original Jurassic Park, how great that was? And he throws the cup in the garbage. Kind of a weird, kind of a weird self-own, I guess, but it knows what it is. And it did it well enough where I thought, all right, we're back in the mix. We got a new crew. We can really build upon this. And then boom, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, absolute stupidity all around. It takes some of the dumb stuff from Lost World and just magnifies it. Oh, we have another island escape. We have to save some of the dumb animals. Boom. Now we're for some reason in a millionaire's mansion or a billionaire's mansion who houses T-Rexes and other dinosaurs down below. Is T-Rexes the plural of T-Rex, or is it just T-Rex? T-Rexy? He houses multiple T-Rex down below, and then for some reason there's a clone subplot where the girl's like, I'm a clone, I'm like the dinosaurs. Owen just does his steely-eyed look, and she pushes the button, and Owen's like, wait, I gotta make sure that I can hold off these dinosaurs. For some reason, sometimes I have a southern drawl. And the clone girl's like, so shouldn't I do it? And other lady, Titty McGee, Bryce Dallas Howard, I just remember she has really big boobs in this movie. That was her real only contribution in this one. In the first film, she's a total bitch. She's like, dinosaurs are profit machines. They don't have feelings. I'm about making money. I don't care about my sister's kids or anything. I just want money. In the second movie, she's like, we have to save all the dinosaurs. We have to save all of them. So yes, push the button. Let the dinosaurs go free. Well, when did this character change so much off camera? Preposterous. The whole movie's dumb as shit. Moving on. Oh my god. Oh my god. We have what we have here. I gotta take a drink. I feel like when Keanu Reeves went to Lana Wachowski for this fourth movie, he was like, so he's saying for this movie I can dodge acting? And Lana was like, no, Neo, I'm saying when we make this movie, you won't have to act at all because you are going to be such a sad sack shell of your former self. All you're really going to have to do, and it shows it right there on the art or on the artwork cover, he's just holding his hands. This is basically Keanu Reeves in the new Matrix movie, which I refuse to acknowledge exists. I hate this movie so freaking much. I legitimately hate this with every being in my every fiber of my being. I can't even talk right. It just makes me so angry. I remember having a Matrix marathon with both of my kids separately. They have 2 years apart. My daughter and I had burritos every day for 3 days straight, and we watched a Matrix movie. It was phenomenal. My son and I did something similar. We might have had pizza. I might have mixed it up with a bacon cheeseburger. It was always a lunchtime movie for us. God, they were good. The first Matrix blew both of them away, the same that it did for me when I saw it in theaters 3 times. The second movie, they loved even more because they didn't have the expectation. They didn't have the waiting game like we did all those years in between for something just as amazing. Reloaded kicks ass. I am now at the point where that movie is fun as fuck, and I won't hear another word about it. Yeah, it's batshit insane with some of the plot and all the allegories and metaphors and symbolism and spiritualism. That's fine. I'm just here for more. I'm just here for Trinity driving headlong against traffic on a motorcycle with a super skin-tight, sexy leather outfit and the keymaker behind her, while agents are approaching, jumping from car to car, smashing things to pieces, only to end up panning backwards to see Morpheus on top of a semi-truck holding a katana and an Uzi. Are you kidding me with this? There is nothing even remotely close to that in the Matrix Resurrections. This thing is such a pathetic pile of ass. And even going back to Revolutions, yeah, that's easily the worst. I don't think anyone argues that point, that Revolutions is a big step down from the other two. I kind of dug it the last time I watched. Once I put my expectations in check and knew what I was in for, I found there to be some pretty compelling stuff at the end of the day. I like the yin-yang thing with Neo and Agent Smith, how they have to balance each other out. I really liked the some of the the recreations of scenes such as the the weird underground action gun fu sequence where Trinity does a flip over one of those turnstiles and Morpheus just goes through it. Little shots like that make this movie special. And then of course the final 20 or so minutes where Neo goes up against Agent Smith. Mr. Anderson, in the rain, we've missed you. Agent Smith is one of the greatest movie villains of all time. To see what they did to him in this movie, turning him into an Agent Chad, having Morpheus be some flamboyant guy full of pageantry, and I don't even know what the hell they were doing. And the most egregious thing was pretending the Matrix, or not pretending, I'm sorry, rebooting the Matrix as a game within the fake simulation. So there was the video game, The Matrix, that Neo was working on, but they would show they would show full motion video from the previous movies in the background, not as video game graphics, but as the actual scenes from the first movie. How dumb does this movie think the audience is? What is the point even of that? I'm glad Lawrence Fishburne didn't come back. He dodged a bullet. Maybe he was the true one all along. I got no words anymore. If you want to hear my full complete rant bitch fest on the Matrix Resurrections. I have 2 videos on it. I have a spoiler review. I have a spoiler-free review. They're both full of passion and bitter anger. We have too many movies to get through. Too many movies to get through. Avatar: The Way of Water. I don't know what this sits at on Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb. I would imagine it's in the high 80s. 80% or higher on Rotten Tomatoes. I would imagine IMDb has it probably around a 7, which is high for IMDb. All I know is this. I went into Avatar: The Way of the Water as a massive James Cameron fan. I had no agenda to go out and hate this film afterwards. I have said this several times. I'll say it again. I did a 18 or so minute mini documentary on James Cameron for Screen Rant. It's up on their channel. How Avatar Changed the World, it's called, but it's mainly just a love letter to James Cameron. I talk about The Abyss. I go into detail about Terminator 1 and 2. I talk about True Lies. I go through Alien 2, all the way up into Avatar. And how much this guy has done for big blockbuster cinema, which is my favorite type, or at least it used to be. It seems like that's kind of failing lately. The man is a visionary. He helps develop state-of-the-art cameras, but he's also a deep-sea explorer. His real passion, his real heart is in the sea, Titanic style. He wants to explore the ocean, and he knows the only way to do this is to put out movies to fund his expeditions. He has said that in several interviews. The ocean comes first, filmmaking second. That's fine and dandy, but screenwriting should probably come first. Because the story of Avatar: The Way of Water was so tone deaf, so beyond the pale of logic and reason, I could not get on board from basically the onset. The fact that Jake Sully is willing to leave the tree tribe, the Na'vi tribe that lives in the trees, and go live with the ocean people at the drop of a hat and pull his family with. And for a movie that's 3 hours long, to only spend a few minutes with the goodbye ritual, like, they cut my chest and they're like, fuck off, and I left. Asinine. Complete asinine. They spent an entire first movie having him get enriched in that culture, becoming one with that Na'vi tribe, learning how to sync up with the creatures, how to perform the different rituals, to just have him bust out, blow out a Dodge with the wife and the 35 kids they have now that all suck and for some reason speak bro language, like they're playing a round of Call of Duty. Meanwhile, the Call of Duty bros from the first film are all back, resurrection style, cloned out of some tubes they had in space outside of the planet. Then they drop them in and they have a boy from fucking Jungle Book, Mowgli or whatever, hopping around like a dumbass, pointing where they need to go. And for some reason, they don't bomb the crap out of the Na'vi in the trees, even though they still think Jake is there. Even if Jake was gone, why would they not destroy the Na'vi? That's like their number one goal. These people have given them nothing but headaches. Oh my God, I can't with this movie. I can't with this movie. Listen. I hated it. If you liked it, that's great. Visually, it's very pleasing. There's some good National Geographic style stuff going on with whales before they're slaughtered and used for de-aging potion or something. I can't. We have to move on from this. Avatar: The Way of the Water has killed any excitement I've had for Avatar moving forward. Berenstain bear in mind you. Or was it Berenstein Bear? Whatever bear it is, I still love that ride at Disney, at Animal Kingdom, that Avatar ride where you're flying through shit, going through the water. It's remarkable. There really is a beautiful world there. It's too bad that it was ignored in the sequel, and instead we just play in the water for 3 hours. Next up, oh, I'm sorry, did I miss a super chat here? I did. Let me back up, make sure I didn't miss any more. Brian Babin with a gorgeous $5 super chat. And then, I had a cock in my throat. Sorry, let me drink some Coke. Brian Babin says, it's a good name, and he's got an Autobot symbol, which I like. I skipped Creed 3, Super Mario Brothers, the D&D. Oh, the D&D flick. Like I said, the D&D, the Dungeons and Dragons. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and John Wick 4, but saw Transformers Day 1. Am I a terrible person? I mean, you have the insignia, so I guess it's on brand. Did you love or like Transformers? Whatever this one's called, Rise of the Beasts? I found it to be serviceable at best and insulting at worst, but not outright terrible. I hope you enjoyed it. And no, it doesn't make you a bad person. Although I will say Dungeons and Dragons was quite a bit better than I was expecting. I thought we were going to get a Thor Love and Thunder from that, but it was closer to a Thor Ragnarok. Not quite there, but it had some really good stuff in it that I liked. Very fun movie for the whole fam. What else didn't you see? John Wick 4. John Wick 4, I like John Wick 4. I didn't love John Wick 4 like a lot of people. Super Mario Brothers was a solid flick. It gave me exactly what I wanted. Creed 3 was a solid flick. There's some weird anime-inspired stuff in there that kind of ruins some of the momentum. Otherwise, it's great. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, if you like the first two, you owe it to yourself to finish, because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was a treasure. Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters. Let me see something once. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Outside of the fact that Alexandria Daddario's in this, hopefully she's of age when this came out. I don't know. I know she is now, so I'm going to picture her now back in this. Outside of her being in this and being a complete treat, it's got Logan Lerman, who sucks in everything because he always keeps his mouth open all the time, 24/7, 365. I imagine Logan Lerman just wandering around the streets of California like this. Hey, how you guys doing? I'm Logan Lerman. This is how I breathe. I can't breathe through my nose. I'm a mouth breather. I can't shut your mouth. Close your mouth. I think he's in Fury too, and his mouth is open the entire time. But that's not the reason Percy Jackson Sea of Monsters on here. I thought we had the opportunity to have another Harry Potter situation. Sure, Percy Jackson, the first, the Lightning Thief, was okay at best. Had some bizarre choices with things, but the books are a little bit, Harry Potter light, to be fair. This one was the one that was supposed to take it up a notch. Really turn the pages, really start to wow people, but instead it took like 3 steps back. The effects were even worse. They, for some reason, had like a Fall Out Boy song right away. Light 'em up, light 'em up, I'm on fire. While they're doing a training montage. I don't know if that's the song, but it's something like that. And I just couldn't finish the movie. I don't even know if they finished the franchise. They might have made one more and it bombed, and then they just walked away, as well as they should have. And I know Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters is getting and I really hate to say this out loud, a Disney Plus series. Yeah, it's getting a Disney Plus series, and that scares the living hell out of me. Here we go. 1983. Oh, by the way, what I looked at before is Christopher Columbus directed the first Percy Jackson movie. He also directed the first 2 Harry Potter movies, got those off the ground. So I really think they were trying to recapture that magic. Columbus didn't come back for the second Percy Jackson. Just, that was what I was looking at when I said that's what I thought. Okay, Superman 3, or as it should be referred to as Richard Pryor, featuring Superman, the movie. This is a train wreck. Superman 4, The Quest for Ass. I think it's called The Quest for Peace. That always gets a hard time, and believe me, it deserves it. It's really, really bad. This movie's no better. This movie's half a Superman movie. I think is this the one where Superman fights his evil version in the one decent scene in the whole film that lasts for maybe 5 minutes total. Just because you shove in one decent part in an otherwise trash movie doesn't make it good. Pryor's shenanigans are throughout this thing. There is a good 20 minutes where Superman's just idly standing by, and we see Richard Pryor skiing down a hill through clotheslines. And I love Richard Pryor, but not in a Superman movie. Not in a Superman movie. Bubba with a $4.99 super chat. I saw The Lightning Thief, then read the book after. This is Aragon level bad book to movie. The books are so good, how could they make such bad films? Yeah, I have not seen Aragon, the film, because I was warned by several people it was terrible, and I hadn't even read the Aragon book yet. I have since read the 4 books, or is there 5? I think there's 4. 4 books in the Inheritance cycle. I'm currently rereading the second one right now with my son Connor. They're phenomenal books. I have no desire to ever watch that Aragon movie, but I think I've also read at some point that Aragon is also going to be a series. And that scares the shit out of me. But Superman 3 is hot trash. One good little section. What sucks even more is Christopher Reeve is at his prime here. He's at his peak. He's at his largest. And he is doing a good job with the acting performance. Like I said, there's some good stuff in here, but the overall is really pretty bad. Really pretty bad. Kind of it doesn't really work in a sentence. All right, you know what else doesn't work? Wonder Woman 1980. Holy shit, this was a horrible movie. This movie came out during the height of COVID, and I wish I had died of COVID rather than sit through this thing. Was that a bit aggressive? Yeah, I think so, but that's kind of what you have to do on the internet. Gal Gadot proving in this movie more than anything else that she really can't act. She is very pretty to look at, but man, she can't act. Also, the least of the movie's problems, the script here is nightmare fuel. It's embarrassing what's going on. Let's see what they put for a synopsis even. A botched store robbery places Wonder Woman in a global battle against a powerful, mysterious ancient force that puts her powers in jeopardy. I guess. Pedro Pascal kind of plays a version of Trump, right? Just this sleazy business dude. And he has a really bad toupee on. Gal Gadot conjures up. She uses a wish on a monkey paw to bring back her dead boyfriend who body snatches someone else. It's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The dude, there's this guy that she meets early on in the movie. And the camera does a thing where it pans over and he's suddenly Chris Pine again. Whatever that guy's name is from the first Wonder Woman movie, doesn't matter. And I was spending most of the movie thinking, what happened to the dude that was originally in the body? He still looks like that to everyone else, but to Gal Gadot, to Diana, he looks like Chris Pine's character. So where the fuck is the other dude? Apparently he was in some sort of a void, his own personal hell. He ceased to exist altogether. She's essentially raping the corpse of a guy he's unwilling. Now, he probably would be willing if he knew it was Gal Gadot, but at this time, he has no idea his body is being used for her personal playground. It's completely asinine. It's insane. Not to mention the action scenes are cringy as shit. She doesn't use her sword ever in this one. She's golden lassoing of truth all throughout this thing, swinging off of nothing in the sky. There's a moment when she swings between 2 trucks, saves some kids, and then slams down on them on the road and just rolls across the ground. I'm just thinking, dead. Those kids are dead. They were better off getting hit by a car than being steamrolled by Gal Gadot. I know the woman weighs 85 pounds soaking wet, but still, they're coming in hot. They're hitting that pavement hard. They were going for something. They were going for an 80s vibe, obviously. That was the motif. They were going for the more colorful Ragnarok look. It clashed so badly with the previous Wonder Woman movie that is like universally praised. Even its worst criticisms say it's still all right. But this one, I don't know anybody that likes Wonder Woman 84. Not a single one. Da na 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 na. Terrible. Jaws 3D. Let me be frank. You can be Jonathan. Jaws 2 isn't good, but it's not outright terrible. What does he say at the end? What does Brody say at the end? In the first one, he has the iconic "Smile, you son of a bitch," and he blows the shark up. In the second one, he's like laying out amongst the debris, and the new Jaws is coming at him, and he's got the cable, I think, and he says something like, "Smile, say ah." I think it's something just as cringy as that. I have to see that again to know. I swear he says, "Say ah." Not quite as cool. Jaws 3D has nothing going for it. It takes place in the SeaWorld park. There's a baby Jaws and a mommy Jaws Eden, and it just floats at the camera for what feels like an eternity. There's a red outline around it that's just incredibly obnoxious. So if you don't have those cardboard 3D glasses on hand, it's going to look really terrible. The Jaws shark itself somehow looks worse than ever before. The budget seems sliced in half. I don't know who Joe Alves is. What has this guy done? Joe Alves? What has this guy directed before? One movie? Is this real? Perhaps best known on his work on 3 of the Jaws films. He directed Jaws 3D. Oh, he's a production designer. Okay, so this was like his one shot, his one opportunity. And he missed his chance and blew. Okay, here's a controversial one. If Tony from Hack the Movies is still here, he will appreciate me putting this on the list. Ghostbusters Afterlife. Directed by Jason Reitman, the son of Daddy Reitman. Alvin Reitman? That doesn't sound right. Ivan Reitman. Ivan Reitman's son. Jason really wanted to take after his dad and make another classic Ghostbusters movie that's full of no laughs, full of no charm, full of no witty dialogue, but a whole lot of Stranger Things 2.0 bullshit. People seem to love Ghostbusters Afterlife. I watched this movie thinking, why? This is such a nostalgic pile of ass. The rules of the first 2 movies don't even make sense in this one. Why is the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man popping up in a Walmart in little baby forms when Paul Rudd's character doesn't even know the context of this? In the first movie, it made sense. It was wonderfully, deliciously evil and cute at the same time. When Stantz thinks about the like happiest thing he can, the least threatening thing, and instead they get this giant Godzilla-style Stay Puft Marshmallow Man who's terrorizing downtown. Brilliant movie. Lightning in a bottle, as they say. And I like Ghostbusters too. I know I'm in the minority there. I know it's not near as good as the first, but I appreciate the cast being back, even though it is definitely a step down from the first. There's enough there for me to enjoy. Now, some people will say, Adam, this isn't even the third Ghostbusters movie. There's also a video game, which is technically Ghostbusters 3, which I believe was loosely based on the whole Ghostbusters Go to Hell idea that they had floating around, which was initially, something that they were going to make, but then Bill Murray wouldn't do because Bill Murray, I guess, hated Ghostbusters 2 and wouldn't do another one. They then repurposed that idea for Bill and Ted 2, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. That's why they end up in hell, but that was supposed to be the Ghostbusters thing. Then we, of course, had the Ghostbusters all-female cast full of strong female leads. It's about time. And nobody liked that. And so here we are, back at square dumb, with Ghostbusters Afterlife, the third installment to the Ghostbusters franchise, with a Peter Venkman who is a deadbeat grandpa didn't hang out with his family. He was a recluse. For some reason, he didn't communicate with his Ghostbuster allies. He was doing weird experiments revolving around Zool and all that shit. And then he, for some reason, went into ghost form and convinced his granddaughter to go to the floorboards to find this and to fetch quest that and to get to the Ghostbusters car so that they could unleash demons upon the earth only to have to stop them again. What was the point of any of this? It made no sense. And then the cash grab nostalgia crap of having the ghost come back at the end so that everyone in the audience can tear up, but not because they loved the character so much and they missed the character because he was so... God, it pisses me off. The movie is built based on the same way that Paul Walker's character is based off in Fast and the Furious 6 or 7 or whatever one he wasn't around for. The goodbye on the beach made everyone cry because we lost a person in real life, and that's tragic and sad. Not because we lost the character from the movie. The character in Ghostbusters wasn't like this lovey-dovey grandpa type character who was, hugging and saying sage advice and had all these like emotional elements to him. He was a weirdo who collected spores and held up Twinkies and made little jabs and was a complete nerd. So you didn't see him in Ghostbusters Afterlife as a ghost and go, he's back. That's the guy I fell in love with in the first two films. No, you're sad because an awesome actor died and he showed up again in CG form. I hate that shit. Ghostbusters Afterlife. Ghostbusters Afterbirth. Matt Sclaro with the $9.99 super chat, gorgeous super chat comes in. I remember seeing Jaws 3D in the movies when I was 6 years old. What is your earliest childhood movie memory? Ghostbusters Afterlife sucked. Okay, what is my earliest childhood movie memory? I remember, see, I just have like, I have a really bad memory, honestly, when it comes to my childhood. I remember snapshots of things. I remember watching a lot of shit on TV that I probably wasn't supposed to. I remember seeing Gremlins on a Christmas night with my cousins and thinking how cool the movie was. And I was probably 7, maybe 6 or 7. Felt really edgy at the time, like, oh, this is really creepy. And I remember being creeped out by it. I remember watching films like Poltergeist when I was really young. I remember watching RoboCop with my folks, actually, and my mom was yelling at my dad saying, Tim, this is not appropriate for the kids to see. Tim, damn it, Tim. She didn't swear, but I'm adding it in. And so he would just keep saying, kids, shut your eyes after someone had their legs blown off. It's like... Kids, close your eyes. Yeah, Dad. They're closed. Excellent. Excellent movie, RoboCop. I'd buy it for $1. Those were some fun ones. I always bring this up, and it's one of the reasons Jurassic Park is my favorite movie. It is genuinely one of the first movies I remember going to theaters and being completely captivated by, fully ensconced in everything that was on the screen. Getting scared, having these wow moments. The intensity of the raptors in the kitchen is just dynamite perfection filmmaking. I love every minute of that film, or I did when I was a kid. Watching it now, obviously, no movie's perfect, but that is one that absolutely sticks out when I think of my childhood. The Lion King, seeing that in the theaters, another one. Seeing my cousin Rebecca just sobbing, completely deflated when Simba's dad Mufasa dies, and I'm just saying, stay in there, dude, stay in there, man. Trying to hold back those tears. How old would I have been? Was Lion King 91, 92? It was probably 10. Feels like a 92 movie. Something like that. Yeah, it's such a good film. Those are some of them that I recall. So thank you, Matt, I appreciate the $9.99. Let's move on to Home Alone 3. Dun, 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 dun. We got a new family. Got a new team. Got a new attitude. Home Alone 3 is a bad movie that some people like because they were kids when it came out. It's older. It came out in 97. But there's no Macaulay Culkin here. All right? There's no cameo by John Candy here. Or Donald Trump, I guess, in the sequel. But Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, I think, is hands down the best Home Alone movie. I know people like the first one better. Home Alone 2 goes bigger and badder in every single sense of the word. It's just a fantastic treat. Home Alone, and the reason Home Alone 2 and 1 complement each other so much is because they're the same movie. Yet in the Home Alone universe, it works like such a charm. It doesn't feel just like a cheap replication. There's a fluidity there. There's a little bit of jazz to it. We did it again. We left him at home again. Okay, how's he going to get out of this situation? Now he's in New York. Now he's got badder traps. Cooler, stronger, faster, smarter. Home Alone 3's dumber, dim-witted, ill-timed, ill-conceived. The jokes don't land. The villains aren't funny. That's the biggest thing. The villains are not funny in this movie. And the kid's not funny either. He's not charming. There's no... Kevin McAllister had a sinister vibe to him. He had pushback to him that I loved. His older brother Buzz, just a complete douchebag. Beat that, you little trout sniffer. And Kevin would just push right back and say, did you hear this? He'll call his uncle a cheapskate. He'll record him singing in the bathroom. We know a guy who can really do the cool jerk. And I'll use it later to hilarity, to great effect. Now, none of that's here. There's like a stupid parrot in the movie and an RC car that they can sell. It's no Talk Boy. I'll tell you that. It's no Talk Boy. And Home Alone was dead from this point on. They would go on to make 2 or 3 more of these train wrecks. 3 more, I believe. 2 of them went to ABC Family as exclusives. You went from 2 amazing Home Alone movies that pulled in massive numbers at the box office to a paltry 3rd film that probably still made decent money to shitting them out on ABC Family? How sad. And then the 6th one, Home Sweet Home Alone, on Disney Plus. So you know it's ass. Awful. This really should be, if I was ranking this list based on genuine movies that were a complete disaster and ruined a franchise, The Mummy would be number 1 for several reasons. Not only did The Mummy ruin this Mummy franchise, Mummy 1, 2, and 3, it ruined a universe. You might see it every year on Twitter. The photo of all the actors, the A-list stars, standing in their photo shoot. You got T. Cruz on one side. You have, what the hell is it? Russell Crowe on the other side. I don't know if Johnny Depp's part of this. There was a few other key players, though. There's like 5 or 6 of them. It's just this sad photo. They're in a dark room. There's like a chair for some reason. Really pathetic for the dark universe. And this was such an ill-conceived movie from the onset. And Tom Cruise, who genuinely pulls in massive numbers almost every time. He's bankable. Complete miss. No Brendan Fraser, no interest, I think is what. Also, making the Mummy a super sexy villain, not a great idea. It turns out guys will be turned on by pretty much anything. So if that Mummy chick is even remotely bonable, it's going to lose a lot of its luster as far as a scary movie is concerned. I remember seeing that trailer and looking at this actress. I forgot how you say her name. Sophia Boutella. I just remember seeing her and going, would. How she is in this film, would. As for this movie, would not. I noticed someone mentioned Lion King 2 was trash, so was Lion King 1.5. Well, yeah, this list isn't counting the straight to DVD or straight to VHS garbage that are known as the Disney sequels. They all had them.
Aladdin had 2 sequels. Beauty and the Beast had sequels. The Lion King, Jungle Book, Lilo and Stitch. If the movie was profitable, it got a shit out sequel that usually didn't have any of the voice actors returning, at least not the A-list voice actors. Writing was ham-fisted. The animation took like a huge nosedive. These were straight up cash grabs. And these are the movies that you would see as exclusives today on Disney+. These are the equivalents of what we get. The Home Sweet Home Alone, that would be the Lion King 1.5 or whatever it's called. Ocean's 12. Ocean's 11's a fantastic movie, which is, of course, a remake of the Rat Pack, Ocean's 11. It was very witty. It had some hilarious characters. You got Clooney, you got Brad Pitt, who for some reason is eating in every scene of the film. It had just enough of that zaniness to keep you going. Matt Damon, was he in the first one? I don't know if he was in the... I don't know. He's in this one. So is Catherine Zeta-Jones. They add Don Cheadle was in the first one. Bernie Mac. This film brings back a lot of them, adds some new characters, but takes us in a really uninteresting setting, which looked like they just wanted to go on vacation. And I've heard about this. I've read about this before, where when stars will get so big, they can pick and choose their roles based on destination if they just want to get away to someplace tropical. That's why Adam Sandler made a lot of vacation type movies later in his career, or I guess in the middle of his career, because he wanted to go to nice, beautiful locations with hot female actresses, and he has every right to do that, but the movie sucked 9 times out of 10. Ocean's 12 sucked. Ocean's 13 would bring it back a little bit, but the damage was already done. I don't actually know if I finished Ocean's 13. I remember sitting down and watching it a few times and thinking, wow, this is way better than the last movie, but not even having the motivation to continue. And I genuinely don't know the setting of which this took place. I feel like it was on an HBO or something, on cable, and I was watching it and then just did something else. I'm trying not to be redundant. I did a podcast recently where I talked about my 5 most disappointing movie trilogies. Movies that had 2 great starters and lost it in the final act. Through the final game. Blade Trinity was one of them. X-Men 3 was one of them. Spider-Man 3 was one of them, although I have softened on Spider-Man 3, as I said in the podcast, over time. Alien 3, absolutely on there. That movie sucks. Tony, you can hate me again. Tony, you can hate me again. I know I had you at Ghostbusters Afterlife, and now I'm pushing you away with Alien 3. We have to have this relationship, or it's just not going to work. Blade Trinity blows. I have never wanted to watch this movie again, and anytime I even have a thought about it, like maybe it's not as bad as I remember, I just quickly push that aside, because I know it is. Wesley Snipes barely talks in the thing. He has less than 100 speaking lines. We have these new characters that take center stage. We have Dracula, who should have been a badass villain, easily the lamest of all 3. For some reason, there's vampiric dogs that unhinge their jaws and their poodles. It's a comic. It's a joke. And then the worst, most egregious thing of all of this is Whistler. Is it Whistler or Wessler? I think it's Whistler. Whistler? Shit. Let me look. Does it say the character names in this? I don't want to leave the page. Regardless, they go out of their way to save this man in the second movie. It's one of the major plot points of Blade 2, which is awesome as hell. Only to kill him off unceremoniously in the first act of Blade Trinity. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's Whistler. Thank you, DJ. Whistler. Blade Trinity. I gotta take a drink for this one. Star Wars The Last Jedi. It's tough to talk about this one because so many YouTube channels have made a living off of bashing on Star Wars The Last Jedi, Kathleen Kennedy, Kathleen Killedy, KKK Kathleen Kennedy, whatever they call her these days. That it just feels like hopping on a bandwagon. Here's the truth of the matter. I actually like movies, and I like going to movies and talking about movies, and I don't make the same video over and over and over and over and over again about Brie Larson sucking. And we know these channels. We know them here. We know them well. Some of you follow them. Some of you like them. I don't understand why, but that's not what this is about. I watched Star Wars The Last Jedi in theater day one, and I remember walking out of the theater very confused, the same exact way I left Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I didn't outright hate either of them when I left the theater. I didn't outright like them either, though. And as I was talking with my brothers on the way to the car even, and as I got home and it was sitting in me, and as I did the review even for the movie, it kept festering and more shit came out that I hated about this movie. And then I did the spoiler review that same exact night. And even just going from the review to the spoiler review, I was getting more and more angry and more annoyed by everything that went wrong with this dumb pile of ass movie. Star Wars The Last Jedi is a narrative nightmare. I don't care who you are. And I've had arguments with people who I absolutely respect their opinion on films. Jonathan Paula, if you're watching, respect. Who love the movie. Who think it's one of the best Star Wars movies. And I can only see where they're coming from at one angle. And that is, if you separate Star Wars The Last Jedi and throw it into its own thing, away from the rest of the trilogy or the saga, it's all right. I still don't think it's great. There's still some horrible stuff in here. But as a standalone movie, it's all right at best. But part of this overall thing, it's fucking terrible. Yes, visually, it's gorgeous. So is Avatar, The Way of Water. Daisy Ridley is great. I know people like to shit on her. She's a good actress, and I do like Rey. The Mary Sue thing is stupid. And it doesn't make sense that it's only applied to her when you have so many countless male-dominated films that are absolutely Mary Sue's as well. John Wick is on the 5th movie. He can't be killed. It's crazy to say that she's special and perfect in every way, so she's labeled this Mary Sue thing. It's bad writing for sure. For absolutely sure. But that's not the actress's fault, and she does a really damn good job with the emotions. Now, it sounds like I'm defending this movie, but I'm not in the slightest. I'm giving you a couple of the decent things that I like. I like Rey, and I like Kylo Ren. He is a decent villain who is also written terribly, but the actors are solid. Now, here's where I leave the happy stuff. Oh, also, I will defend the throne room battle scene. I know the internet loves to pick up how the hand disappears, how the blade disappears. We're talking about a fantasy film that's highly ridiculous, and we've had previous movies that have far worse choreography. We all know Luke Skywalker's fake-ass kick that knocks Boba Fett, or what? No, he's kicking a guy in front, and Boba Fett's like in the background. But he doesn't even get close to the guy's face when he kicks him. We have a scene from the OG Star Wars that's like a hunt and peck adventure between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, where they're just like, we don't even understand this technology right now. Oh, let me do a spin. That's a cool trick. It's embarrassing. We let it slide because it's an old-ass movie, but to say that the Star Wars movies have always had this superior choreography, and it's bonkers. The throne room scene is kick-ass, and watching Daisy Ridley go, and she takes out the guy, and Kylo Ren throws the saber and it goes through the dude's head. That whole section is freaking great. And it's the only section of the entire movie that I like. We're talking about a 4-minute section of a clusterfuck of a film. We have The Force Awakens, which I alluded to earlier with the Jurassic World. It's a soft reboot. It's basically A New Hope all over again. A lot of the same playbook, a lot of the same beats. People knock it for it. It's well within their reason to, because it is the same movie. We can't deny it. Yes, there's new things added on. There's new characters. There's some new side stories. But for the overall, it works the same way. We have a sand planet. We have a secret message. We have a new girl who's got Force powers, and she has to take on the evil Emperor and whatever. Well, the Emperor's not in it yet, but he will be. Snoke, I guess. Snoke is the Emperor. Clone Snoke. Sorry, Clone Snoke. Oh God, what a shit show. Force Awakens was great. It was a solid start. Not perfect, not like phenomenal, but it was a really solid new start to the franchise. And it set things in motion, and it teased us Luke Skywalker at the end. Our fan favorite character's back, baby. We haven't seen him in a million years. He's hanging out on a planet, ready to train the new Jedi. And then where do we start with? After cock teasing us for a year, this epic wide shot panning around a mountainside as she hands him the saber, teary-eyed, ready to go. We open up with Rian Johnson's interpretation of the character. He takes the saber, tosses it over his shoulder. He's out. He's done. He's now an old curmudgeon-y, hate-filled Jedi who wants nothing to do with it. Because it turns out he felt a disturbance in the Force. Kylo Ren was getting persuaded to go to the dark side. So in an act of stupidity, Luke sneaks into his tent at night like a camp counselor who's got some bad intuition, and he's about to kill Kylo, but the last second he's like, "Ooh, I better not do that. Not cool, dude. Not cool." And now we're off to the races. The place gets destroyed. Luke sits like a hermit crab. He's bitter. He's drinking milk off the tits of an alien. He's spear hunting or whatever he's doing for food. His X-Wing is laying in shambles in the brambles on the side of an ocean hill. I don't know what the hell's going on. For some reason, there's a butthole in the island that Rey drops down at one point, and she starts doing a performance with herself in the mirrors. I'm talking to the Rey in the mirror. Woo! She has like a slam poetry section. Skibop. Skidibop. Skibibop. Really, really bad. I don't know what the hell was happening. And the plot revolves around a slow-ass moving space chase. That's it. 2 hours, 2+ hours, 2.5, whatever it ends up being, of just these guys slowly moving in space. They can't shoot TIE fighters out. There's no way for them to hit them with missiles. There's no way to warp ahead of them. There's nothing they can do. Poppycock. And then somehow Rose Tico, everyone's favorite, her and, what is it, Finn? They go off to Sonic's Casino World planet. And that's a whole other bag of ass. Where they reenact scenes from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. No, I'm sorry, that's a good one. They reenact scenes from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, where they're running down alleyways and there's little, creature deer fawn things going after them. And then they save the deer, but not the kids. That's the part I love the most. We got to let these animals go. And there's these poor kids that are working in the stables. Like, are you coming back for us? No, kids. We see you later. Fuck off. And they take their reindeer aliens and go away. I love that they save the animals and not the kids. That's my favorite part. Broom Boy. So good. Star Wars. By the time the last one came out, I was in it for the lulz. I was like, yeah, sure. Bring him back. Bring back Emperor Pelpy. I actually called that they were going to bring him back in my solo review. Towards the end of my solo video, I think it was a solo review. It might have been a solo movie feuds. I'm not sure which one it was. But I said, what are they going to do next? They're going to dust off Pelpy's old bones, strap him to a chair, and marionette him back to life. And that's what they did. Gosh, this movie. All right, here's a quick one. The Lego Movie 2, the second part. Chris Pratt vehicle. You know what's funny? Everybody's seen the Lego Movie, and everybody really likes it. And somehow no one saw the second movie, except for me. And I don't like it. I went with my kids. For some reason, it was kind of a musical the second time with a terrible villain. Tiffany Haddish, or I don't know. I'm not having ish. She's this singing musical character who can transform herself. It had the Duplo angle with the kids stuff. There was a Jurassic World tie-in with the dinosaurs. Really a bad follow-up. They never made any more of these Lego movies. Ninjago movie was pretty bad too. All around, kind of a disaster for the Lego franchise that started out on such a high note. And I think this is the one that ended it all, right? You had the Lego Batman, which was solid. Everybody likes that movie. And then this was the whimper, the fart in the wind. Miserable film. Let's move on. Oh, God. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is maybe the most embarrassing movie franchise ever created, ever. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald is a movie so unremarkable, I couldn't tell you anything about it, other than Johnny Depp is Jack Frost in this movie. Third film is even worse, believe it or not. I don't even know how it's possible. Because this movie's terrible. The first Fantastic Beasts movie was nothing to write home about. It was kind of like Percy Jackson. We know that there's potential here. Even though Newt Scamander is the worst leading character I've ever seen in anything, I don't really understand. What is the appeal of Eddie Redmayne? Can someone answer me his appeal? He was in Theory of Everything, I think it was called. And he was good in that. At least I thought he was good in that when I assumed he was playing a character. But then it turns out that's just Eddie Redmayne. He's always just Fantastic Beasts and where am I right now? I don't know. I'm just kind of a bumbling, muffly talking British idiot. Nothing about him worked for me. I don't get it. Maybe he's got some sort of a weird sex appeal to the ladies out there and some of the gentlemen. But for me, he's completely useless as a lead. So what we have to rely on is his buddy, who's a human dude. I can't remember his name because I don't want to think about Fantastic Beasts ever again. I was very generous to the first film. I thought, okay, it's not great, but it is a Harry Potter, it's in the magical world. We can do something with this. And what they did is they decided, yeah, we shouldn't have gone all in on Newt. We're bringing back a young Dumbledore, and we're going to try to fix this. The plot of this movie is such a smorgasbord of bad ideas mixed together. I know Jack Frost's Grindelwald is rising to power in this like Nazi-style fashion. For some reason, it ends with the Trinkety or Tweety or whatever the hell Twinkie her name is, the flowery, cutesy sister. She joins him. It made no sense. There was this weird plot about orphans getting lost at sea. You got the Flash Ezra Miller in this, which automatically makes it worse because Ezra Miller also sucks. We have two of the most unlikable actors in this film, folks. And that's enough right there to not watch. Welcome to the Hotel Transylvania. Transformania. This okay. Hotel Transylvania, we're not talking about high art here. The Hotel Transylvania trilogy right up there with How to Train Your Dragon as far as I'm concerned. No. But they're serviceable, fun, colorful, light, good family flicks to watch at Halloween. If you don't have a family and you have no reason to watch, you really don't have a reason to watch. They're shenanigans. But you have Adam Sandler and his crew. You got David Spade. You have Selena Gomez for the girls out there, and for some reason me. I'm going to be honest with you. I celebrate Selena Gomez's entire music catalog. I'm a fan. I'm sorry, I just am. My real job is coding by day. Playboy, celebrity YouTube movie critic by night. And I like to code to pop music, preferably kind of crappy poppy pop music. And so Selena Gomez fits right in that sweet spot. I'll throw in some Avril once in a while, some Levine. I'll throw in a little bit of B. Spears. I'll throw in a lot of Ariana Grande. Stuff that I don't really have to think about, but it's on. So you get a little good Selena Gomez song in there, and I'm ready to code. I'm ready to code. This movie sucks. Hotel Transylvania Transformania. This went straight to Amazon Prime. They own the rights now. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but here's my theory. Conspiracy. Adam Sandler's not voicing Drax in this one. He's out after 3 movies. Why wouldn't he? Easy ass paycheck. They show up in their sweatpants, they record for a couple weeks, and they're done. My theory is he had a big ass deal with Netflix at the time. And I'm guessing there's a part in that contract that said you cannot make movies for competing streaming services such as Amazon Prime. Amazon got the rights during that time to Hotel Transylvania. They had to make a new one, and they said bye to Adam Sandler. So they got another guy to play Drax. He's not quite there. Not a terrible impersonation, but I could tell. Not the least of this movie's problems, though. It's just a really cash grabby, quick, mediocre affair. Really not good at all. Highly recommend not watching it. Yeah, of course, Taylor Swift is in the mix as well. Yes, thank you. We are getting closer to the end. Zoolander 2 is... How many negatives can I say in a video? I'm a huge fan of Zoolander. It's one of my favorite comedies. It's probably in the top 10, top 20 somewhere. You have one man in 5 syllables. Derek Zoolander. Finally getting a sequel after all these years, and he went full retard. To quote Tropic Thunder, another freaking hilarious film. Never go full retard. There is not a sane person in the movie, and all the insane people are ratcheted up to the 10th degree, and it doesn't work. The jokes are old. It starts out with Billy Zane delivering a Netflix movie, like a DVD, to his door, and nobody was even using ordered DVDs from Netflix any of it. And I think Ben Stiller's gone on record multiple times saying that he knows this movie's a disaster. Or at least he knows that people didn't like it. Will Ferrell's back as Mugatu. He's broken out of prison. He has this ridiculous prison bodysuit. I really, it's so unremarkable, like one of the next movies on this list, that I couldn't even tell you a thing about it anymore. Nothing added up and nothing really stuck. I remember his school for kids that can't learn to read good broke because he used actual toothpicks to hold it up, because that's something they used in the model. Even on that level, it's so fucking dumb, because building a giant building for kids to read in would require construction workers, and they're not going to use giant toothpicks unless Derek built the thing himself. So I have to have plausibility even in implausible films. That in a nutshell encapsulates my issues with Zoolander 2. There's nothing normal inside of this anymore. The first film had crazy stuff inside of a real world. This movie has crazy stuff inside of a crazy world. Ugh. Dumb and Dumber 2. I was waiting a long time for Dumb and Dumber 2. The most clever thing about this movie is the title, because they spelled 2 wrong. The worst movie trailer I've ever seen in my life came out quite a long time after Dumb and Dumber 2. And it was for the prequel to Dumb and Dumber. I don't remember what it was called. Dumb and Dumberer? I think it's called Dumb and Dumberer. It was a prequel about Harry and Lloyd when they were in college. But in the movie, in the trailer, it showed the black screen and the white lettering that said dumb. And then it gave you the definition. And then it said dumber and gave you the description. And at that time, we didn't have the internet or any way to know what this was going to be. So by all reasonable purposes, you thought, oh my God, they did it. They made a sequel to Dumb and Dumber 7 or 8 years after the first, or however many years had gone by. But no, it was that stupid prequel. So I had to wait all of these years, plus that teaser to that other movie, to get this monstrosity. I can't even think of a single funny part of the movie. Lloyd and Harry are very mean-spirited in this one. Not that they were gentlemen in the first, but they had a lovable oaf quality to them, even when they were doing bad things, that it still felt like okay. You know, like giving a bird to a blind kid that's dead and they tape the head on, obviously not a good Samaritan thing to do. Yet the way they acted and the way that they somehow presented the scenario worked out. In this one, it's grosser. The jokes don't time out right. And I mean, it doesn't help that they've aged up a lot. It's just overall just kind of a sad state of affairs. Oh, is someone upset that I said the full retard? I was quoting the movie. I don't use the word freely. I apologize if I offended someone. Glass 2019. This is how you ruin a beloved franchise that spanned a couple decades. The third and final installment to the Unbreakable saga. You had Unbreakable with Bruce Willis. A cult classic. I'm not going to lie, I was never a huge fan of Unbreakable. I liked the concepts behind it. I loved the Mr. Glass character. I liked the idea of an everyman getting stronger, putting paint cans and everything he could find on the bench. But he never really did anything of substance with his powers and his abilities. And no, I wasn't expecting him to Superman around the town. It just felt half-assed in its approach. It felt like half of a movie. And I wanted the rest of that story to be told. Little did I know that M. Night had it in his head the whole time that we would eventually finish this story. Then we get Split. A brilliant James McAvoy flick where he plays multiple characters. You have that other chick in there that I absolutely love, Anya Taylor-Joy. And it's all kind of just set inside of this building, this old dilapidated building, and you have a couple girls that he kidnaps. It's a raw, gritty flick. And the big twist reveal in this movie was that it was set in the Unbreakable universe. A lot of people wouldn't have even understood this twist and would have been nothing to them. I saw it with Lindsay, my wife, and she didn't really understand. She's like, oh, Bruce Willis is there? I'm like, shut up! You don't know anything. That's not Bruce. That's Bruce Willis from Unbreakable. Why are we even together? And then you have this. Ass. I'm sorry. Oh, no, I was right. Ass. I don't even know how you can make something so anticlimactic. I couldn't write anything more depressing if I tried. Not depressing as in sad or somber. Depressing as in, it's such a disappointment. To have the main character go out by drowning in a puddle. What? Why? It just makes me sad. You had this talent here the whole time, and you squandered it. Most of the film is them in a room talking about their feelings, and you're just waiting for anything to happen, and it takes an eternity for us to get to the final climax, and once we get there, there's no climax, at least not from the audience. Glass. This is another one that was on my most disappointed trilogies list. Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. It's a comedy. It's a character of itself. It's played for laughs for the most part. They take cheap shots at the previous movies. Arnold looks very half-assed in it. He even admitted that he did this entirely for the paycheck, which was about $30 million. Plus, he got royalties on the movie's profits. So he netted $30 million on top of another $20 or whatever this thing ended up making. I'm sure it did fine, actually. This is another example of not putting a super hot model as the villain. Unless the movie calls for a hot model as a villain, as some sort of a catch-all idea. But she was not threatening. She wasn't scary. She was good looking. It doesn't work for a Terminator movie. I'm sorry, it doesn't. I don't know what they were thinking with this. The TX or whatever the hell it was called. The only saving grace it has was the final act, which everybody points out. The movie's great. That ending. Yeah, the ending. Okay, you have 1 minute. You know what else had a great ending? Saw had a freaking great ending. That doesn't make the whole movie was brilliant or this amazing film. No. Saw went from a D to a C plus because of the great ending. Terminator 3 goes from a D to a C minus because of the great ending. X-Men The Last Stand, another one that was on my disappointed trilogy list. I've talked about this movie an endless amount of time. You can see multiple videos on it. I don't like this film. It's another one that I can watch the same way I watch any of the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World movies or Transformers movies, outside of some of them that are like 3 hours long. I like the X-Men. I like a lot of the actors that play these characters, but this is a very, very disappointing final act to that original trilogy that inevitably would be kind of getting a soft reboot in X-Men Days of Future Past. A brilliant follow-up that fixes this movie and kind of wipes it out. Really a multiverse sort of situation before the MCU ruined that whole idea. Speaking of X-Men, then we have X-Men Apoca Shit. You know what? I looked this up and I thought it was called X-Men The Age of Apocalypse. And I kept searching for it on Letterboxd and it just came up X-Men Apocalypse. Did they do a rebrand at some point? Wasn't this originally Age of Apocalypse? Regardless, Days of Future Past was like X-Men, X-Men 2 again. It redid everything, made it all feel nice and new again. We had introduced the younger versions of the characters with the newer ones, and then we do this and completely ruin everything. Apocalypse is such a ugly looking film. There's CG shat out everywhere. Stuff is flying and blowing up every which way. One of the few good things is Psylocke is super smoking hot. But outside of that, what are we doing here? Why are we watching this? Apocalypse wasn't threatening at all. And I like Oscar Isaac, but not for this. Not like this. Not like this. And last but maybe least is Alien 3. Directed by David Fincher. I don't think any man would ever want to have a name removed from something as much as David Fincher wants his erased from Alien 3. Or Alien Cubed. Is the little 3 the cubed? After escaping with Newt and Hicks from the alien planet, Ripley crash lands on Florina 161, a prison planet, and host to a correctional facility. Unfortunately, here we go, although Newt and Hicks do not survive the crash, a more unwelcome visitor does. The prison does not allow weapons of any kind. Oh, that's so sad. Even in the synopsis here, they say, hey, Newt and Hicks survived. Not all was lost in Aliens. Oh, all was lost. And an alien survived. And And Ripley's gonna die now. It's the Last Jedi all over again with this. When you take the previous movie ideas, concepts, the things that it's built up, and you throw it out the window and say, nah, we can do it better. We can do it better going this direction. Now you got this. And then the final movie has to somehow bring it together, and that rarely works out. That rarely works out. I remember the old Prince of Persia games, the cool ones for like the GameCube and the PS3, I think. Xbox. Gritty. They had Godsmack playing. Felt like a completely different experience. Not a great one. And then they tried to marry the two with the Two Thrones or whatever the last game was called to a bit of a amalgamation of ideas and concepts that didn't quite work. They didn't quite mesh. Alien and Aliens almost diverge kind of like that. But they diverge in a healthy manner where they're still parallel to each other. They take the good ideas from the first film, marry them with the more action-heavy sci-fi look of the second one, and then that should have been a complete package with 3. But instead, it goes completely off the sides of the planet. This ugly prison planet. It's a terrible setting. It doesn't have... It has atmosphere. I will say it has atmosphere, but it's not good atmosphere. A lot of browns and steams and sweaty people, bald people. Not a lot of pleasant things to look at. It's an unpleasant film. That's what Alien 3 is. It's an unpleasant film. And this was an unpleasant list. A lot of sadness here. A lot of ugly. Oh my God, it's 12:24. We've been talking for a long time. Wow. Did I miss any that you guys, think should be on the list? Did I disappoint with the list? I would love to know. Feel free to throw any super chats in at the end if you had a good time, if you enjoyed this. It was a lot to get through. It was a lot to get through. I apologize again if I upset someone with my quote earlier from Tropic Thunder. I was genuinely just quoting the movie. Maybe because it was Ben Stiller, it felt appropriate, but I understand if you never want to see me again. I understand. Wouldn't be the first time. Tomb Raider, the new one. Otherwise, let's see here. What's coming up on the agenda? Short for agenda. Before we wrap up, I'll let you have a little bit of time to maybe throw in a super chat or two. Otherwise, let me tell you what's coming up. Very quickly. Patreon list. So if you haven't noticed, I knocked out 3 movie requests this week. We did Wind River, we did Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and we did Zulu. Knocked them out this week. 3 for me, 3 for you. I'm going to try to do 3 next week as well. So we have Gregory Coburn with 3 Idiots. I've never even heard of this movie. I'm not going to lie. Mint Salad with Mallrats. Her second pick in the Kevin James universe. Whatever they call that. There's a term for the Kevin James universe. And then Matt Sclaro with Cats. That's going to be a fun one. Those are all next week, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got like 8 more after that. So I'm keeping up. I'm starting to get ahead. I think it's going to be a good time. Outside of those, I also have a review coming out for Kung Fu Hustle that I did just willy-nilly. Actually reviewed it last week. That's what I'm editing for this week still. I have a cringe video that I've already shot that I have to edit for Patreon and YouTube join members at the $10 membership and higher. I have a Cringe is Back announcement video I still have to edit. These things are all shot already. I'm just behind. I got to get ahead. That surf lesson really screwed up my mojo. I got to get it back. And yeah, we will. Oh my God. And then Friday, we have 2 or 3 big movies coming out. We got The Flash, which I will be reviewing. We have Elemental, which I will be reviewing. And I think there's a black comedy that's coming out. My wife texted me and said I had to go to 3 movies. She was like yelling at me to go to 3 movies. Like, okay, if I have to. Let me see what it was called. The Blackening. I don't even know what that is, but I guess that's out this week too. So I'm gonna try to do a triple feature, which I've never actually done before. I've done a couple double features. One specifically I remember seeing was Forrest Gump, and actually I shouldn't say specific because I'm mixing up a couple. I think I saw Forrest Gump and the Shadow. Or it was Forrest Gump and Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Did those come out the same year? It was either Forrest Gump, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, or Forrest Gump and the Shadow. That's a really weird back-to-back to go to. I remember my dad not being too impressed with our pick. Regardless, that's how it went. Okay, so yeah, a lot of stuff coming up. The next live will be Friday of this week at 10:30 p.m. Otherwise, I think that's it. I'm going to bed. It's late. We have work tomorrow. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you hopefully Friday night.